FBI worries that bad guys might try to copy last week's deadly terror attack in New Orleans. Investigators say the days immediately after high-profile crimes are of the most concern.
So why do people commit copycat crimes and what inspires them? Good question. Jeff Wagner talked with an expert who is working to find offenders before they strike.
Celebration turned into frightening chaos on January 1st when a driver barreled down Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing 14 people. 2 days later, the FBI released a bulletin warning of copycat attacks.
Writing, quote, "This tactic is likely to remain attractive for aspiring attackers, given vehicles' ease of acquisition and the low skill threshold necessary to conduct an attack."
A copycat crime is a criminal act mimicked or inspired by another crime seen in media, either real life or fiction.
There's some research that supports this idea that within weeks of a high-profile mass casualty incident, an attack incident, there are sort of follow-on attacks.
Randy McAllister spent years in law enforcement, including time with the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force.
Specifically focused on threat assessment, threat management, so trying to get ahead of violent attacks.
Why do people commit copycat crimes?
Somebody who's sort of on the brink of carrying out an act of violence themselves somehow now feels empowered by what they're seeing in the media, whether it's social media or mass media.
The attacks are investigated and reported on in detail, creating what McAllister calls a cultural script for a potential attacker, a method for violently solving their grievance.
They feel part of the script. And they want to identify with that.
A survey of 572 prison inmates found that 22% admitted to committing a copycat crime. Men were more likely than women to copy another crime.
Where do these copycat criminals get their inspiration?
Really, 15 years ago, they got their inspiration from mass media.
Nowadays, McAllister says social media and the internet in general have greater influence.
The Sandy Hook shooting, for instance, the guy who did that shooting had actually done essentially like graduate level research on all the prior mass shooters.
An FBI documentary states that the Columbine High School shooting in particular has inspired over 80 copycat attacks.
It doesn't come out of the blue, these warning signs typically that we look for, but you have to have systems in place to, what we say, collect the dots so that you can connect the dots.
Jeff Wagner, WCCO News.
Here at WCCO, we have policies and conversations about how we cover crime. To help prevent copycats, we may limit using a suspect's name or picture.
We also avoid posting their writings or broadcasting any video they may have recorded, and we do not show live streams.